When I just saw Joe Russo, one half of the Avengers Doomsday directors, comment about Uncle Ben and his relationship with Peter Parker in the MCU, and those comments were, Joe Russo says Peter Parker wasn't responsible for Uncle Ben's death.
Yeah, this was a really dumb comment. I don't know why he said this.
This is funny for a couple of reasons, okay? Now, the hate for MCU Spider-Man isn't a new thing, but a lot of the regurgitated points are, Iron Boy Jr., falling under the shadow of Iron Man, being too tech-based, taking 3 movies to get to his actual origin and line.
I don't mind Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It's a different interpretation. Again, like Tom Holland was introduced. Spider-Man 1 only came out Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 only really came out 14 years ago.
Out there, this is like Batman's parents dying of cancer.
And also, I think, and also we live in a world, I never read this comic book series, Absolute Batman, but, Absolute Batman took, some big... What is up going on, everyone? I know this might be a little bit late. I might be a little bit late on this, but I wanted to still cover this because this was a little bit silly, and I think this will be a little bit fun to react to. It's about Spider-Man, particularly MCU Spider-Man. It's basically about the Russo brothers. I think they said some really dumb shit about Spider-Man, saying that Uncle Ben wasn't that important. It was some really dumb stuff. So we're gonna react to it. I know I'm a little bit late on this, but you know what? Fucking why not? It's fun. It's some dumb slop we can react to. It is a video called Spider-Man fans are pissed at the Russo brothers from 3C. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. 3C Films. I don't know, for some reason I call them C3 for some reason. I don't know. It's so stupid. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I like this YouTuber. I like this guy. He does a lot of movie and show news, and I just like watching his videos. And you know what? Why not? Let's react to it. Let's make this let's react to him occasionally. Why not? He makes some short content, and it's easier to react to than 30-minute to hour-long videos. Again, I should also mention that his video will be in the link down description down below. And yeah, let's start the video in 3, 2, 1. Go. Oh, shit.
Oh, it's been kind of a while since I've been a whiny Spider-Man fanboy, so why not get into that one more time? The Russo brothers have put out one of the craziest statements involving Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and although at the end of the day, while these comments don't really mean much of anything, they highlight again some of the reasons I wasn't too fond.
Yeah, I don't really care much about their statement on MCU Spider-Man. I think they were just I don't know, to me, I actually prefer how the Russo brothers write Spider-Man more than John Watts, actually. I know he technically does not write them. I know that technically the Russo brothers don't write them. Someone else does them, but I don't know, I prefer how the Russo brothers do Spider-Man way more. I find they understand Spider-Man much more than someone like John Watts. I know I'm not a hater on the Home trilogy, but I don't know, to me there's some stuff about the Home trilogy that I'm just not a fan of. And it's just kind of a little bit shame because Spider-Man has the potential to have some of the best movies within the MCU, but for some reason they can't nail down exactly how to make a great Spider-Man movie in that universe. I liked Homecoming. I thought Homecoming was really fun. It probably is a movie that means a lot to me, at least somewhat. Mainly because it was kind of the first movie I watched before I went to high school. I graduated elementary school and went into high school, and it was sort of came out in that middle ground during my summer break, and it was a lot of fun and kind of meant a little bit to me. Far From Home, I kind of forgot about that movie. That movie is so forgettable. And No Way Home also kind of means a little bit because it was kind of it came out during the time when I finished high school. And I was going to be entering college, and it also is a movie that weirdly kind of also means well. It's kind of crazy to think about. The MCU Spider-Man movies started when I was in high school and ended when I finished high school. So it was very, very. It mixed feelings to me because in some ways I have nostalgia for them. They kind of mean well. they kind of like meant a lot to me, but at the same time they don't really meant a lot. I don't know. It's like I have mixed feelings in them. No Way Home, I kind of wish that movie was much better. Honestly, I liked it when I first watched it, but I have little to no desire to rewatch it. Um, Sorry guys, I was a little interrupted. Anyways, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't know. For me, I don't know. Like to me, like No Way Home. I don't know. No Way Home, like it was fun. Like I rewatch it occasionally, but like every time I rewatch it, it doesn't feel the same anymore. Like it felt so cool to watch in the theater, but once you remove like the audience and the movie theater experience, it just rings hollow. And I don't know. To me, like it's just I don't know. I guess it's one of the better Marvel movies that came out in the multiverse saga, but still, it's not a very well written movie to be honest. Here, and the only reason I liked it really is because of nostalgia. Really, it's really the nostalgia.
Of MCU Spider-Man, but why I am so looking forward to Spider-Man Brand New Day and the kind of rebirth they're going to go through with his character.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that Brand New Day is like the first MCU Spider-Man movie that I actually do really really like. Like I do like genuinely think is a great movie. And I think there's a lot of writing on it. Obviously, John Watts is no longer in the picture now. Now we got a new director, Daniel Craig. I don't think it's Daniel Michael Craig. I think his name is not Michael Craig. I'm so dumb. Daniel Craig or whatever his name is. Anyways, he's the guy who directed Shang-Chi. I like Shang-Chi. I thought Shang-Chi was pretty good. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still pretty solid. I think it's on par with the MCU movies, but like I like his directing much more. His directing is much more interesting, and I think he can make a really good Spider-Man movie, especially with the action scenes. I'm just a little bit worried about the script. That's really about it. And it seems like to me, like Brand New Day seems like a movie. There's a lot going on with it. Obviously, we got like the Punisher in the mix. We have the Hulk in the mix, and apparently, we got Sadie Sink, who's playing like a mysterious character. I personally believe it's Jean Grey. I don't know. At this point, like it's kind of like. I'm kind of on the belief it's Jean Grey. I just don't know how they're gonna factor in Jean Grey. I just don't know how they're gonna do it, but hey, why not? I guess they're trying to set up the MCU X-Men, and this is how they're gonna set it up. Is slowly introduce them throughout various different movies. But you know what? Why not?
So please, let's try to be civil. Don't cancel me for my Spider-Man opinions. And tell me whether...
Oh, I won't C3. I won't. 3C. I'm so dumb. Anyways, I'll call you Chris from now on.
You agree or disagree with what the Russo brothers had to say? Okay, so I was just scrolling. I was being a good little noodle when I just saw Joe Russo, one half of the Avengers Doomsday directors, comment about Uncle Ben and his relationship with Peter Parker in the MCU, and I had a crash out immediately. I had like 3 different tweets all within a 10-minute time span. If I was standing, I would have fallen to my knees and screamed in my living room. And those comments were, Joe Russo says Peter Parker wasn't responsible for Uncle Ben's death in the...
Yeah, this was a really dumb comment. I don't know why he said this. Especially this is from the Russo brothers, who, in my opinion, probably had like a better written Spider-Man than his own solo movie. So I gotta be honest, it's such a weird comment to say, especially just randomly out of the blue. Like it's so bizarre. Like I don't know. To me, like I don't think we need Spider-Man's origin story. I don't think we need to see Uncle Ben. I never really particularly. Well, I used to care, but like not anymore. I don't really care anymore all that much. If they don't want to do that, that's fine. I guess Aunt May kind of takes the place of Uncle Ben. It's like, you know what? That's okay for me. I'm okay with that. It's just the best we're gonna get with this character, I guess. I don't know. For me, like I think how I imagine how MCU Spider-Man's origin story is, it's kind of plays out like Amazing Fantasy number 15, like beat for beat. That's kind of how I view it. So like every time I view like MCU Spider-Man movies or like movies he's in, I usually read Amazing Fantasy number 15 first before watching Civil War, because that's how I kind of view with like how his origin story played out is basically Amazing Fantasy number 15. I feel like most people would, any like MCU Spider-Man haters can like at least, I think they should view it in that way a little bit. It's just like, again, like you have to kind of remove some details, like of course like Spider-Man being in the Amazing Fantasy number 15 taking place in the 60s, and sort of like reworked into a way like, oh, this is Tom Holland Spider-Man in the 2010s or something.
The MCU. If he blamed himself for his uncle's death, I think he becomes a very different character.
What? That's so weird. What do you mean? A different character? That's like the whole point of Spider-Man. Isn't like the whole point of Spider-Man that he, like the reason why he becomes Peter becomes Spider-Man is because of the death of his uncle. Like that's the whole story. This is such a weird comment.
That would have been a different interpretation, a more intense interpretation of the character.
I agree with you, C3. It's such a bizarre comment. Again, it's not really canon. It's like a weird, dumb comment that the Russo brothers said. I don't know. To me, like it feels like that they're trying to. I feel like I don't know where this comes from. I think it's a part of me feels like it's rage bait for Spider-Man fans. Because I'm gonna be honest, Spider-Man fans are so freaking annoying. They're so annoying, especially with MCU Spider-Man. Like, bro, there's like a million different interpretations of Spider-Man. This is just another one. Sure, it doesn't suck that this is like the main Spider-Man movie. They did this like weird 50-50 where they're like, yeah, we got some of Spider-Man things, but like Spider-Man's like mythos, but like they're missing some like Uncle Ben. They're missing a proper Mary Jane, MJ, or like some of like is Rose Guy, like Green Goblin and Doc Octopus, but technically I know technically we saw those, but like those guys, but like that's like the Raimi versions, not really like an actual MCU Doc Ock or an actual MCU Green Goblin. But like it does suck, but it kind of is what it is. Unfortunately, I'm just kind of like we can't go back and change it if you don't want to. I don't know, make a fan made version or something. I don't know.
Okay, wow, this is funny for a couple of reasons, okay? Now, the hate for MCU Spider-Man isn't a new thing. Many of you diehard MCU Spider-Man fans are aware of this. These aren't points I made or completely agree with, but a lot of the regurgitated points are, Iron Boy Jr., falling under the shadow of Iron Man, being too tech-based, taking 3 movies to get to his actual origin and line of, with great power comes great responsibility. At the end of the day, I know the majority of fans and people out there love Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and I would agree that Tom Holland
I don't mind Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It's a different interpretation. Again, everyone has to think about this. Like about time, Tom Holland was introduced. Spider-Man 1 only came out Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 only really came out 14 years ago. And for some people that may seem like a long time. For movies, that's only a decade and a half, really. Not even a decade and a half. It's almost a decade and a half. That's nothing. That's really nothing. For most movies only get reboots after 20, 30 years after their original movies. And I don't know, people can be very strange. People can be very strange. And also this happened when MCU Spider-Man got introduced, even a better example, TASM 2 only came out 2 years before Captain America's Civil War. Think about that. We had 2 iterations of Spider-Man before we have Spider-Man introduced in the MCU. And they had to do something different. Something that will be different from the Raimi verse and the TASM verse. They gotta do something different with it. They can't just do always the exact same beat for beat. And even those movies are not really exactly beat for beat. They made drastic changes. It's just we didn't criticize them. Well, technically some people do criticize. A lot of people criticize the TASM movies when they came out. They criticized them. But you get what I mean. They had to change something, and they made some drastic changes with MCU Spider-Man. Some of it worked. Some of it didn't work. For me, I think the big ones that worked right here, Vulture. Vulture's a character I think is much better in the MCU than he was in his when he first debuted. He was much better. He's much better written. I like the fact they tied his story with the New York invasion and the first Avengers, and he was just overall just a much better written character. And Michael Keaton was great in the role. He was definitely the best part of that movie. So yeah, they made some different changes, drastic changes in fact, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. even though it kind of sucks that we're not gonna get like an MCU Uncle Ben. I mean, let's see. Like maybe Brand New Day might change it. But like I don't know. To me, like I guess I at this point I can't. It upset me at the time, but at the same time I kind of like grown to accept it at this point. Like, this is the direction that you want to do, and I was just hear them out. Let's just see like how they do it, and that's all. That's all I have to say.
Is a good Spider-Man. But a statement like this, although it is only the opinion of Joe Russo, I am aware of that. Okay, I'm not just twisting his words. I know it's just his opinion and his own headcanon, but this opinion he has perfectly fits Tom Holland's Spider-Man because Uncle Ben has been a thing that's barely mentioned or even relevant or important to his character. That's been one of the big complaints from diehard Spider-Man fans is, where's our Uncle Ben? We need to see that old guy get shot and die on the street going, Peter, Peter. Okay, the animated Spider-Man movie.
Lol, yeah. I don't know, like to me, like I think it's pretty clear to me that MCU Uncle Ben and like at least in the MCU, if he ever like existed, probably doesn't mean that much to Peter all that much, which sucks, but like it is what it is, I guess. Again, like I think Aunt May and Tony Stark took the place of that role, and I think it's fine for this version of Spider-Man. Granted, it's not the choice that I would make, but like it kind of is what it is, I guess. And if you don't like it, I don't know, go rewatch like the Raimi movies, go watch the Tarzan movies. Like at the end of the day, like those movies still exist. Go read the original source material. Like it is what it is. This is just another interpretation. Or go watch the Spider-Verse movies. These movies are, in my opinion, all the Spider-Verse movies are like better than most of like the live action Spider-Man movies. Outside like probably Spider-Man 2, but that's really about it. Like these movies are freaking fantastic. They're great.
Movies we're aware, canon events happen for a reason. They're key points that create and motivate Spider-Man. Something like this, where you could easily fit it into Tom Holland's version of he didn't cause Uncle Ben's death like it is in his original comic and has been for the last two interpretations, whether it's Toby and Andrew. Peter Parker failing to take the responsibility of stopping the mugger that eventually leads to killing his uncle is a huge motivating factor for what fuels him to be Spider-Man and to take on that responsibility as a hero. I mentioned a second ago, it's funny that the Russo brothers made this comment because all the people that have usually been hating on MCU Spider-Man would say the Russo brothers should have directed the Spider-Man movie. The Russo brothers should have been the one to helm MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I feel like they were just, I don't know. To me, I don't know where this comes from the Russos. I personally think it's rage bait. I think they're just kind of rage bait MCU Spider-Man fans, MCU Spider-Man haters because they're just a bunch of fucking weird guys. They're just rage baiting Spider-Man fans at this point, and I don't know. To me, like that's how I see it, and this is one of the reasons. And I'm like, I don't think this is like a natural take they have. I don't know. I don't know how true this take is because they, in my opinion, like I think that Spider-Man in the MCU, at least like any crossover movies like Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, I thought are probably better interpretations of MCU Spider-Man than like his own movies, or his own movies basically. Yeah. I think he's much better written in those movies than he is this one. And he's only, I think, only really because he's a supporting role than he is a main character. But like, I hope Brand New Day breaks the trend. I hope they finally make a great Spider-Man movie. Like, it took them so long. It took them 10 years, but like, we're finally gonna get a great MCU Spider-Man movie. Finally.
And a lot of that comes from the little bit that Spider-Man has been used under the Russo brothers, whether in Civil War, Infinity War. They get a lot of the nuanced details diehard Spider-Man fans have been begging for, and this also completely contradicts what happened in Civil War. In Civil War, by the Russo brothers, Peter literally gives a speech to Tony Stark.
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
That's literally him.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I think it's rage bait. I don't think this is a take that they have, or maybe it is, but like I don't know. To me, like this kind of communicates to me as rage bait.
him implying and talking about Uncle Ben's death. It's so weird that the Russo brothers had that in there, and now they're stepping away from that. And I get what the argument for diehard MCU fans is. It's a different interpretation. They can't all be the same. This is like a variant. But something like this, where it totally fits the character of Uncle Ben having nothing to do with his motivations or origins, isn't that like directly ripping apart a huge characteristic trait of the character? I joked around when this was put out.
Yeah, for me, like, how I see this is kind of, I don't know. It sucks to see, especially, like, for me, like, as much a huge Spider-Man fan I am, I just kind of grown to accept it, that Uncle Ben probably does not matter as much in this universe at this point. Or maybe he will, like, in Brand New Day. They probably might make a scene where, like, he actually does mean more than... At this point, it's kind of, like, too late now. It's kind of too late. They should have done this in, like, Homecoming, or at least Far From Home, but now it's, like... I don't know, like, to me, like, at this point, it's gonna feel, if they do it in Brand New Day, it's gonna feel, like, way too late. Just way too late. And, I don't know, to me, like, it's gonna feel too late, but, like, it kind of is what it is, I guess. I don't know. To me, like, I got the original source material, I can just read those, and I got a bunch of different interpretations of Spider-Man already in media, especially with the Raimi movies, like, I can just go watch those. And... I'm not gonna watch the Taz movies because those movies are crap.
Out there, like, this is like Batman's parents dying of cancer. You know, Batman.
And also, like, I think, like, and also we live in a world, like, I never read this comic book series, Absolute Batman, but, like, Absolute Batman took, like, some big departures with, like, with Batman. Like, Bruce Wayne, like, mother does not die in that universe. Well, at least what I heard. I think his father does die. But, like, he only dies, like, when I think Bruce was much older, when in his older years, like, at least when he's a teenager, more so than he was like a little kid. So they made some big changes. He's also not like a billionaire in that universe. He's a construction worker, which is a big departure from the old universe. But, like, I don't know. I heard a lot of people like that, like, they like that interpretation of Batman, and it's been, like, the best-selling Batman comic in, like, a while. So, like, I don't know. I feel like people are more willing to accept drastic changes as long as they do it good.
Batman's parents getting killed by a criminal on the street of Gotham fuels him to fight crime. They die by cancer. I guess he becomes a scientist. I don't know. Or in Superman, like, if the Kryptonians were evil. Okay, well, actually, that did happen.
Yeah, that did happen. They also made a big change with the Superman movie. I like the Superman movie. I think the Superman movie is really good. The fact they made Superman basically like Omni-Man in that universe, except, like, instead Omni-Man was always like a bad guy. He was technically supposed to be a good guy. It's just like his bad guyness was more kept hidden from him than it was for Omni-Man. But, like, I liked it. I actually thought it worked well for the story for that movie. And I like the fact that they're not just copying and pasting the old Superman mythos. They're actually doing some changes that feel interesting and compelling.
Now, and you know, I joke around about that Superman situation, but that's where I finally find myself on the other shoe, where diehard Superman fans are pretty pissed that James Gunn did that, made Superman's parents kind of evil and wanting him to rule Earth, because they feel Jor-El being good and inspiring wisdom into Kal-El is important to that character. But because I'm just a casual Superman fan and I just want to see a hopeful, bright Superman movie, and it mostly does that, I'm not too pissed about it, and I'm looking at those Superman fans like a little...
Yeah, the Superman movie, I don't think it really changes all that much with that. I don't think it changed, like, making Jor-El evil doesn't really change all that much, because Jor-El doesn't really mean that much to Superman, all that, in the wider scope. I think his, if they made his Earth parents not as important, then I'd probably be more upset than anything. But his birth parents, I don't really care all that much, because technically Krypton doesn't his Kryptonian parents don't really mean that much to him. Like, in the wider scale, it's really like his Earth parents mean more to him. His adopted parents are more important in his life than it is his birth parents.
whiny the way some of you guys are looking at me about this Spider-Man stuff. But getting back to it here, I didn't want to make this video just to, again, be validated once more. Not that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is an awful interpretation, but to validate my feelings on why I feel sometimes disconnected to Tom Holland's interpretation, because everything leading into Spider-Man Brand New Day has only been confirming those weird feelings some of us got when watching the last 3 Spider-Man films. Uncle Ben not being a huge part of his origin and not learning that responsibility right away, and it taking 3 movies to the end of No Way Home for that to happen was like, okay, well, he was never really then Spider-Man. Even Kevin Feige had to make these comments where he said, I think there's a promise at the end of No Way Home that for as sad as it is that Peter is forgotten by everyone in his life, we are seeing for the first time in Tom Holland's Spider-Man stories, him being a proper Spider-Man. And I totally feel that when looking at the trailers for Brand New Day. I'm thinking that must have been the key from the beginning. We never got to see Spider-Man completely suffer, and that early suffering we see either with Tobey when Uncle
I love Spider-Man fans. They're so fucking goofy. Like, in order for like this guy to be a good character to these people, he has to suffer. He has to be fucking suffering. He has to have all his life miserable. All of his family's dead. His girlfriend broke up with him. Everyone loses their memory. His dog dying. In order for him, he has to suffer. He has to be broken poor. And it's like, bro, guys. I mean, after all, this is a character after all, but that's a little psychotic. I'll be honest here. It's a little psychotic, but like, I mean, I prefer like more a Spider-Man that technically does struggle way more than not. So I guess I kind of agree, but like, I don't know. Some Spider-Man fans take it way too far for me, in my opinion. Like, just accept that. Unfortunately, it's not an interpretation that you're gonna love. Just like accept it and move on. But you're like, there's other interpretations of Spider-Man that you can just keep consuming.
Uncle Ben dies, or with Andrew when Uncle Ben dies. That suffering is part of the attachment we grow with Spider-Man, why we see him as so noble, look up to him and want to be him within his struggles. And because we didn't see that tragic thing happen until his 3rd movie with Aunt May, and all of the trailers for Brand New Day show him suffering, alone, sad, looking at the love of his life be with someone else, it again reaffirms to me that just part of being Spider-Man is that suffering, is that pain. And I think it'll be interesting for when like MCU fans who already love Tom Holland's movies and those 3 films, and they think people like us who complain or nitpick about this stuff are kind of crazy. I don't think they're ready for how much they're...
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. But at the same time, I'm excited for Brand New Day more than any Spider-Man movie, even more than No Way Home. Well, actually, maybe not No Way Home, actually. Then again, I have reasonable expectations, except I do hope that this is more like a proper Spider-Man movie. Like I understand like from the get-go, like they always planned like this Spider-Man the home trilogy was going to be like an origin story, sort of like an origin story for him, like a soft origin story for him. Obviously he had an origin story in the past. We're not going to show it because we obviously we seen it all. We understand it. We understand the Spider-Man origin. But like here's a different type of Here's a different way to look at the origin story. We had those 3 movies. Those movies were perfectly good. And now we're going to have an actual proper Spider-Man movie where, like, he's an actual, like, he's acting like Spider-Man. He's on his own. He's broke. He's poor. He's going to be, like, taking on his own villains. Like obviously Vulture and Mysterio are, like, more so connected to Tony Stark and the villains that we saw in No Way Home, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, that was connected to Tobey, Electro and Lizard, that was connected to Andrew's Spider-Man's. Like, those guys were more connected to us, even though those were technically not really connected to Tony, but, like, still. This is the first time we're going to have a Spider-Man villain that is connected to Peter Parker, and that's going to be very interesting. Like, an actual MCU Spider-Man villain that is connected to him, which is cool. I kind of wish they added Vulture. Oh, yeah, I think... Isn't he, like, trapped in, like, the Morbius universe? God, that's a worse fate, worse than death. Jesus Christ. Anyways, I hope they retcon it. I hope they bring back Vulture. I wish they should have brought him back. He was a really good villain. I like it. But then again, I'm excited we're finally going to get Scorpion. Like, finally, thank God we're going to get Scorpion. Like, that's a cool villain. I do want to see Scorpion. Especially he's playing, like, the guy from Breaking Bad. Not Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul. he played Nacho in Better Call Saul. Like, that's gonna be really exciting, cool.
They're going to love Brand New Day because it's finally including those elements that have been missing. I genuinely feel like they're going to see the movie and be so blown away, love it. And it's because those elements are finally being included into the story, you know? And again, I bring all this up and I rant about it, not to tear down Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It's more just to get through to those MCU Spider-Man fans that look at us who kind of, you know, complain about the little details within Tom Holland's movies that we're not crazy. There has been something missing from him. And when Russo brothers make comments like this, it's only proof how far from the core of the character the MCU took some liberties with that Spider-Man. I don't know, just my thought. I just really had a little...
Yeah, I don't know. To me, like, I can't just grow to accept it. Like, this is their interpretation. Know what? It's not a bad interpretation. It's like the first, like, Spider-Man in, like, a universe, in, like, a cinematic universe where we have the Avengers, the Guardians, and whatnot. Like, it's kind of disappointing that there's some key elements that are missing, but at the same time, it is what it is, unfortunately. I think this is, like, the best we're gonna get, especially with the fact that MCU Spider-Man is owned by Sony, and they're doing this merger deal where, like, Disney will have, like, they both have kind of like 50-50, and, you know, unfortunately, we kind of found a middle ground. We can't have certain parts, we can have some parts, and it kind of is what it is. I just hope it's a good movie. That's all I hope. I just hope it's a good movie, but, like, as an adaptation, I am a little bit disappointed. But it is what it is, I guess.
Little crash out and wanted to rant off about this. At the end of the day, I think I'll just always be looked at as an MCU Spider-Man hater, but I'm not. I like Tom Holland.
Yeah, it's 3C. Chris has always been, like, critical of MCU Spider-Man movies. I think he likes the Andrew Garfield ones. I don't know, to me. Andrew Garfield could have been, like, the best Spider-Man. His movies are just poorly written. His movies, that's all it is poorly written. I personally believe, like, if those movies were better written, he would have been MCU Spider-Man, and it wouldn't be Tom Holland. That's what I believe. If those movies were much better written, he would have been MCU Spider-Man. I don't think a lot of people would mind. Especially, I think he's a more faithful adaptation than Tom Holland. Tom Holland captures more of the looks and, like, the high school behaviors of a Spider-Man, but, like, he doesn't capture the mythos as much as Andrew's.
And I want to love Spider-Man everything. I just hate the look people give me like I'm saying the earth is flat when I say Tom Holland isn't my favorite interpretation.
Whoa. That's kind of too far. I don't view myself as a flat earther. Listen, just because this one doesn't suffer, it does not mean we're flat earthers. That's going a little too far. Then again, I'm probably not, like, one of the crazier ones. I'm more like at this point, I'm probably more like a casual at this point. I grown to, like, all right, some of these fucking Spider-Man Gooners, some of these fucking Spider-Man fanatics are fucking crazy. Like, they just want everything pitch perfect. It's like, dude, it's like the fun of comics and superheroes is that not everything's going to be. People are gonna make changes, whether or not it's gonna be drastic or not. I do agree with, like, the Uncle Ben one a little bit, but I just grew to accept it. It is what it is.
Spider-Man, but he's still a good one. He's still an enjoyable one. And Brand New Day would only validate me more. You guys hear the Russo brothers comments. What do you make of them? And how do you feel about, like, now that the John Watts trilogy is over, all these different creative minds are just now openly speaking about some of the flaws that have happened with Tom's movies? You guys let me know.
Well, that's the end of the video. Good video. I like C3. I like God damn it, 3C. I like 3C. Chris. He's a good YouTuber. I can't wait. I do want to react to more of his stuff. And yeah, good video. Leave a like and subscribe and watch some more awesome content. Okay, bye-bye.